We set up Scientists for EU in May 2015, when the Conservatives came into power on the promise that there would be a referendum on EU membership. Now, we knew at that stage that this would be no good for British science. So we set up a Facebook page, called it Scientists for EU, and it's grown hugely since. And what we're doing from that page is communicating to the public the importance of science to health, to our economy, and the implications of what leaving the EU would be to all of that. In terms of the science programme, if we want to cancel our net contribution and cancel our freedom of movement, it's going to be very hard to buy in from the outside. Switzerland recently had a mini Brexit because they cancelled their freedom of movement arrangement with the EU, and that means that they could only get partial access back into the science programme, and it hurt their involvement a lot. That would be a significant loss of money and finances unless we either buy back in or compensate for it. In universities, it would be about 17% of our science funding that would be pulled. And we know that when you pull public funds, then private funds also go with it. We would still have participation, but there's a big threat that we wouldn't be allowed to lead and coordinate them. It's also a lot less likely that we would have any large international instrumentation set up in the UK. For example, at the moment we have the Joint European Torus and we have the European Medicines Agency. So we have big EU institutions set up on UK soil, and we've got a chance of getting more of those if we stay in, but if we leave, then we don't. That impacts our own researchers who enjoy freedom of movement the other way to the rest of the EU. And to think that it's only going to go one way, that we can be selective of them who we take in and they're not going to put up barriers to us, is incredibly naive. And because there's no actual plan as to how this is going to be managed, and we're coming up to the referendum date very fast, people are rightly nervous. And there are plenty of people I've heard say, from European backgrounds working in science, but also some Brits, that if there is a Brexit, they're going to vote with their feet and they're going to be out of here anyway.